Why was that the thing that would remove the demon? Why? Couldn't they have tried like holy water first before going to the whole cock and ball thing? Alright class, settle down and let me tell you a story. We have long established and accepted that Warhammer 40k in its essence is a horror story. It's a horror universe. And for a noob like me, you have to wonder, what does a 40k veteran actually consider as disturbing? But before we find out, please like, share, subscribe to the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo. And here we go.
G'day guys and gal.
G'day,
Warhammer
mate.
40k isn't just grimdark. It has elements of comedy, romance, action, and horror. It can also be really
So he just thinks that horror is simply a part of it. But me personally, I consider the whole thing as horror. There's human starch, for Christ's sake.
disturbing sometimes, graphically describing the most horrific deaths and agony. It's generally pretty hard for a book to give you goosebumps and a chill down your spine from just words on a page, but Warhammer does it all.
The most disturbing passage from a book was from Chuck Palahniuk. I think it was from Monster. You guys should check it out, where his intestines were basically sucked out of his butt in a swimming pool accident.
Today we'll go over the 5 of the most bone-chilling, goosebump-raising, and penis-de-erectioning moments in Warhammer 40k. Oh, let's get into it. It's not often that a book will continually set up deep, interesting characters that are relatable and likable, only to have the book's main bad guy continually kill them in extremely vicious and horrifying ways. But that's what happened with the Black Pariah. The Black Pariah was an especially sadistic blank that was fused with the demon by Erebus to become the ultimate assassin. It could shapeshift, regenerate from nearly any wound, had increased speed and strength, could eat people to take their forms, and if it tasted your blood, it could consume your soul. Erebus believed that it could assassinate the Emperor, hence sent it out on this mission.
That's something.
During this mission, it killed a lot of characters in extremely brutal fashion. It pulled a Psyker into a hellish realm, tormented her before eating her alive. It brutally killed a detective as he was praying to the Emperor for protection. It ate a beloved family man, then framed him for horrific crimes, causing his family to be persecuted. It literally killed like half the book's main characters.
So where's the disturbing part? I'm assuming the disturbing parts comes from the graphical description as to how exactly he committed these atrocities.
Ripping the face off one of them and violently eating some of the other's souls.
Of course.
It wasn't just how ruthless it was that was disturbing, it was how it violated its victims. It intimately murdered them, tasting their memories, then
intimately murdered them. So I guess graping's involved.
Taking on their form to then go back and kill their loved ones.
Of course.
It defiled corpses and reveled in the horror of its victims. It was a massive...
It defiled corpses, so like some morgue workers or funeral home workers.
Brick, with each scene about it murdering someone always disturbing the shit out of me. I was always waiting for them to be saved last minute. For this character I'd grown to like to be the one to overcome the Black...
Alright, so this is definitely one of the books to watch out for, the Black Pariah.
And escape, but no, pretty much every time they were mercilessly annihilated. Fortunately, the Black Pariah's death was pretty satisfying, shot in the head then set ablaze, but that was a small comfort for all the horror and death it inflicted in the most disturbing of ways. It's pretty hard to feel bad for the servants of chaos. Most of them are dicks and all of them get what they deserve eventually, but the word bearer's first journey into the Eye of Terror and then jumping into the warp without a Gellerfield, followed by their horrific return to their legion, was pretty fucking disturbing. Basically,
what happened there?
Tal and his chapter of the Serrated Sun agreed to follow a demon into the Eye of Terror to uncover the primordial truth of chaos. They are shown numerous disturbing visions before eventually agreeing to turn off their Gellerfield at the behest of the demon with them. Demons then swarm the ship and violently murder the fuck out of all the word bearers on board. Bit of a shocked Pikachu face moment. However, after some time, the word bearers all awake totally intact. After they had been killed, each word bearer had then been possessed by a demon that brought them back to life. life. The demons weren't done fucking with them though. The ship was very damaged and low on supplies. The entire mortal crew was also viciously massacred.
Of course.
So the wordbearers had to try fix the ship and fly it back into real space. It took them months, and since they had no food, they started cannibalizing the rotting corpses of the crew, and when that was gone, they begun cannibalizing each other.
Alright.
Most of the chapter died not because of the
So cannibalism equals disturbing. I mean, what was that? The Andes tragedy. I guess the bodies were sort of fresh, but here they were already rotting, so yep, definitely gonna be disturbing.
demon attack, but because they were eaten by their fellow Astartes. For Lorgar and the rest of the wordbearers,
Lorgar.
Argyle and his chapter had been gone for minutes. For Argyle, it had been months. It was so disturbing as Argyle performed this task out of loyalty to Lorgar and duty to his legion, only to endure the most agonizing death followed by the most horrific few months of anyone's life. All because demons are fucking assholes and could have just sent the primordial truth over email.
Yep.
Pretty much anything about the Emperor's children is disturbing, but these days they are mostly comically disturbing. However, during their fall to Slaanesh and depravity, they were at their worst, but still not as bad as the crew who suffered alongside them. There was a famous artist on board, Serena D'Angelis, who had felt the touch of Slaanesh when she visited the corrupted Leia temple alongside Fulgrim. She began attempting to paint the ultimate portrait of Fulgrim, but was super frustrated with her work, so she began mixing paints using her own piss, shit, blood, and cum. She would cut herself all over her body.
Wait, cum? You know what, let's just keep going.
But these weren't enough, so every once in a while she would clean herself up a bit, go down to the ship's bar, seduce some lonely guy to bring back to her room, and then while initiating sex, she would slit their throat and then use their blood and corpse to continue the painting.
Black
It was
Widow.
a very disturbing parallel to addiction. Sometimes she would become lucid and horrified with herself, but the desire to continue the painting was too strong. When her close friend and the man she truly loved came to check up on her, he was mortified about the state of her room, herself, and the smell. He wanted to help her, but she started crying and screaming for him to leave as her inner demons were telling her to kill him and use his blood for the painting. Eventually, she's able to overcome her addiction through will and the love she has for a friend. She runs to his room to unite with him, only to find him dead, impaled by a sword into the statue he was working on. This completely breaks her, as she then cries for her dead friend before impaling herself on the same sword, joining her love in death. Despite the outlandishness of Warhammer 40k, you could really feel the disturbing similarities this has to real-life addiction,
Romeo and Juliet.
and I was creeped out the entire time I read through this, watching a talented, smart, beautiful woman full of life become this decrepit creature. Continuing the theme of the Emperor's children, because as I said, they're all fucking yuck, we now have the moment where the captains of the Emperor's children tied Fulgrim down and sexually tortured the shit out of him, while Fulgrim then proceeded to have massive orgasms. I shit you not, this actually happened. For context, Fulgrim had been possessed by a demon after his killing of Ferrus Manus, and his demeanor had changed a lot. A few of his sons...
if from what I remember, in Horus Rising, what was the name of that guy, their main guy? I mean, when he was describing, when he was looking at the Remembrancer, that all other emotions such as fear and sexuality has bred out of him, so women means nothing to him. So I wonder what happened here.
Notably Fabius Bile, Lucius, and the first captain of the Legion grew suspicious and did some investigating. They discovered that Fulgrim had indeed been possessed. This was unacceptable. They would not allow a demon to possess their father, hence they ambushed Fulgrim and knocked him out. They then stripped him naked and tied him down in Fabius's lab, before proceeding to cock and bull torture the shit out of Fulgrim in order to try to remove the demon. The gross thing...
Wait, why was that the thing that would remove the demon? Why? Couldn't they have tried like holy water first before going to the whole cock and ball thing?
Is that Fulgrim actually loved it and wasn't actually possessed when they were doing it. He would continually come as they literally shoved medieval torture devices up his asshole. At one point, 4 Astartes were simultaneously going at it on Fulgrim. This is already so disturbing, but the thing is, Fulgrim could have ended the torture session whenever he wanted, but instead enjoyed it for a while before then just getting up off the torture table. However, by far the most fucked thing out of all of this is that Space Marines see their Primarch as a father, and Primarchs see their Space Marines as sons. So it was a...
Definitely made the whole thing worse.
bunch of sons torture raping their father who was loving it. Overall, very disturbing scene. Have fun with that mental image. No disturbing list would be complete without the homuncular bar, an efficient method of recruitment that the Iron Warriors developed, which basically involved kidnapping women, pumping them full of warp growth hormone until they were the size of their house, then they would shove kids and gene seed up the woman's orifices. Then, after a certain amount of time, a space marine would tear its way out of the screaming woman, who would then be stitched back together and forced to endure the same process over and over until they died. Jesus Christ.
I regret this whole thing.
Even worse, the space marines that came out of the homuncular bar had no skin, with many being horribly deformed. Now sprinkling in a bit of tragedy, those misshapen unfleshed were actually just like naive yet quite nice people, and they helped Uriel Ventress, an ultramarine captain, to destroy the homuncular bar and end the nightmare.
Oh my god.
In return, Uriel actually got them off the world and to safety, but due to some unfortunate random warp spaghetti, the unfleshed were driven into a frenzy with only one surviving. Uriel is talking to the last remaining unfleshed, with orders from the Grey Knights to put him down, but Uriel doesn't want to just kill the distraught unfleshed.
Why should he?
He tells the unfleshed that he is a good man, and that the Emperor loves him before showing him a shining necklace of the Imperial Aquila. The unfleshed smiles and says the Emperor does love me, as the necklace reflected an image of a handsome young boy.
Of course.
The visage the unfleshed would have had if the Iron Warriors hadn't mutated him into this abomination. As the unfleshed looks at his perfect reflection with a smile on his face, Uriel shoots him in the head. So there you go.
It's that scene from Alien where kill me.
Tragedy thrown in with some disturbing lore. Now for an honorable mention, since I did mention this moment in my 5 horrifying moments video, which I recommend to watch after this one if you're enjoying this video. It's
I'm not enjoying it.
I just didn't want to take up one of these 5 spots. Constantine Valdor is a paragon of loyalty, martial prowess, and will, but in those 10,000 years since the Emperor became a vegetabilized galactic battery, his mental health took a hit. He went on to create a pocket dimension full of cloned blanks, winged blood angels, and other wacky overpowered shit. The disturbing part comes in with the cloned blanks. See, they aren't just blanks, they are modified. When the cloned blanks complete their training, they then have these strange warp spiders put down their throat. These spiders will stay there and grant their blank increased power, including the ability to create a magic death ball that can be sent to go out and fuck shit up. A side effect was the way these blanks now spoke. Since they had a spider in their throat, it was very subtly off, like there was a bit of metal in their throat, like a slight static in their speech. It triggered the uncanny valley effect as it sounded human, but just wasn't quite right. When one of these blanks fought against an Emperor's children's Psyker, the Astartes forcefully pulled the Psyker out of the blank's throat in a very disgusting scene before crushing it. The really disturbing part is that when the protagonist of the books this happens in realizes that she was actually not far off having a spider put down her own throat. That gives me the heebie-jeebies. I fucking hate spiders and I live in Australia. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support—
Nope, definitely did not enjoy the video. These are knowledge that I could have lived without.
The channel, then pick up a Major Mini, a great first mini to get into the hobby with, or something to spruce up your existing armies. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more disturbing content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye. Thank you for watching, guys. Now, if you want me to check out other stories here on YouTube, please let me know in the comments. We upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. Please like, share, subscribe, do the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo. And don't forget to check out our Twitch channel where you can catch me do this live. Now, class dismissed.